Yeah. You know what? Hell yeah. Yeah.
All right, welcome to Taste Take. If you're new here, today we're doing a spoiler-free breakdown of the new movie, One of Them Days. If that's something you're into, hit that subscribe button for your boy. For my regular Taste Takers, let's see if this one has us Kiki all the way to the bank. Get it? Because that's it. You probably get that one. Okay, quick background here. One of Them Days is a new movie starring Keke Palmer and SZA. It was written by Syreeta Singleton. It was directed by Lamont, and it was produced by the one and only Issa Rae. Let's start with our writer, Syreeta Singleton. Syreeta is a producer and writer that's from LA. This is her first full-length screenplay that she ever did. Previously, she was a writer on Black Monday, Central Park, Insecure, and she was the showrunner for Rap Shit, which, as you know, is another one of Issa's projects. Okay, real quick, I gotta tell you this story about how she says she got into writing. I know some of y'all probably like, what does it have to do with if One of Them Days is funny or not? But listen, I'm trying to tell y'all some black stories, so just listen up. Anyway, Syreeta says back in 5th grade, she was in school and her teacher said they could have some quiet time where they could write about anything that they wanted. Apparently, her 5th grade boyfriend had just dumped her on the playground, which, by the way, you fumbled that, King. You see where she's at now. Let that be a lesson to all you other 5th graders. Anyway, so she's back in class and she writes this horror story about how a mass murderer pulls up on the school, triggers a power outage, and when the lights come back on, they find her ex beheaded. Not only that, when writing time was over, she read this short story to the whole class. She says she'll never forget the looks on their faces. And right there, that's when she knew she wanted, she wanted to be a writer. Fast forward to her adult years, she's still writing, but she also has a full-time 9-to-5 PR job. Around that same time, Issa Rae has started her YouTube channel. Shout out to the Awkward Black Girl days. Back then, Issa put on this like workshop for content creators. Syreeta pulls up in that thing and she gets Issa to agree to read one of her scripts. Issa Rae loved that script and agreed to produce it. Unfortunately, that movie never got picked up, but a couple years after that, a little show called Insecure did. Surely enough, Issa called Syreeta and asked her to be a part of the writing room. Syreeta worked her way up to staff writer and eventually became the showrunner for Issa's show, Rap Shit. Okay, quick commercial break here. Do y'all see what's happening? Do you see what happens when you just pull up to some shit? Listen, if you got some dreams, don't be too cool to pull up to the workshops. Don't be too cool. Over to our director, Mr. Lawrence Lamont out of Detroit. This is also his first feature-length directorial debut. He really got his start doing music videos, but I regret to inform you that I have no idea if his origin story involves any playground heartbreak. But I do know that this dude was only a teenager when he made his first music video, kept on grinding, and that Detroit connection brought him to Big Sean, where he directed a couple of his videos, including
I don't fuck with you. And everything that I do is my first name. These hoes chase bread. Aw damn, she got a bird brain.
Anyway, working on these music videos eventually brought him to LA, where he's been living for over a decade. So he's doing music videos, then he started doing commercials. He once did a commercial for Shipped that stars Issa Rae. You see how we are here connecting these connections? He went on to then direct several episodes of Rap Shit. The stars of One of Them Days, Keke Palmer and SZA, first kind of connected while filming that episode of SNL. While of course we know Kiki's been acting since she was a little kid, this is SZA's acting debut. And if you're looking for some more of those Issa Rae connections, you out there like, Chris, you got any more of those connections? Let's take it back to Insecure. Because don't forget that Keke Palmer played trifling ass Condola's little sister. And SZA was actually Toya in Looking for LaToya. Did y'all even realize that? So yeah, if you don't get the picture by now, this is a project about community. And after over 6 years in the works, One of Them Days is finally in theaters. All right. Plot time. One of Them Days tells the story of one day in Los Angeles for two best friends slash roommates, Dreux and Alyssa. Dreux is working her way up at a diner. She's the more responsible of the two. Alyssa is an artist who constantly is making bad choices with money and bad choices with men. One of those choices being giving her man the $1,500 that her and Dreux put together to go pay the rent. Because naturally, this fool took that money to start a terrible clothing line. Now Dreux and Alyssa got to the end of the day to find $1,500 to pay their slumlord. Can these two figure out a way to get the money? Or will they fall short and end up taking their talents to the streets like in Step Up 2? Now we got a movie. So what's my take? You know, I tried to get an early screening of this movie, but nobody likes me. I wanted to get ahead of it. I needed to get ahead of it before the real critics got their paws on it. As a hood comedy connoisseur, this is my expertise. No, I got this. The first reviews I kept hearing about it, everybody was just talking about the chemistry. Oh, how'd you like the movie? Listen, the chemistry between Kiki and SZA, but how about the movie though? No, but that chemistry, it's kind of like when they asked Aretha Franklin if she thought that Taylor Swift was a good singer, and the Queen said, well, she has really nice gowns. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can kind of tell from the trailers that they probably got good chemistry, but it doesn't tell me if the movie's funny or not. So whatever, I'd take myself down to the movies on release day to watch it with my common man. And I was 1,000% expecting to drag this movie from New York City all the way back to the City of Angels. I won't soon get over the fact that this might be one of the funniest black movies since, let me think, because I know they don't know about Tijuana Jackson, Purpose Over Prison. Hold on, it's got to be the funniest black movie since Girls Trip. Even though, if you ask me, low key. Okay, let me just chill out until I watch this thing again. Yeah, Tiffany Haddish, I said it, I'm watching One of Those Days again. Now, of course, I'm not talking about this movie winning no Oscars. I'm not crazy. This is kind of a terrible story that we haven't seen a million times. But what do I always say? If you don't really care about the plot, then it has to be funny. It's kind of like those responsibility squares. You guys ever seen those at work? You guys work? Okay, you know, like when they be like, oh, well, the square here tells you if it's urgent and important, you do it right away. Or if it's like not urgent but important, you either do that shit later. You never seen those like little squares? So yeah, in the hood comedy movie verse, if a movie has a good story and is funny, then you got a classic. We're talking Friday. We're talking House Party. We're talking Money Talks. Argue with someone else. If you got a bad storyline but it's funny, you got Baps. You got Blue Streak. You got All About the Benjamins. You got One of Them Days. If you got a good story, but it's not really that funny, I don't know. Well, Think Like a Man. And if you got a bad story and it's not funny, it's probably a Tyler Perry movie. So I sat in that theater last night by my damn self and I was laughing out loud. I don't know the last time that I did that. And I definitely don't know the last time I did that for a black movie. I think Issa Rae is a national treasure and she's building quite the little empire. The amount of people that have watched and rewatched Insecure is legendary. And if you don't watch rap shit, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. But this wasn't Issa's movie to write or direct. She's a producer. Sometimes producers don't even be doing anything. But that's why I spend so much time in this video breaking down the background. It's so you guys understand that she ain't just grabbed these people out of nowhere. She's been working with the One of Them Days team for years. And she was on set every day, which a lot of producers do not do. Anyway, before I move any further, can I just give some virtual flowers to the one and only Keke Palmer? Okay, I think Regina Hall is one of the funniest women, people, organisms we have living on planet Earth. And I feel like Keke Palmer is kind of like the second coming of Regina Hall. It's kind of like a younger Regina Hall. The way Keke Palmer ate this movie up, it's like if you go to the dentist and they're like, okay, we gave you the fluoride rinse. It's going to be a little bit before you can eat again. But you already was not eating before because they told you, you got to come in crispy. You got to come in with your floss, your rinse, all that. So you wasn't even eating in the morning. Then you go to the dentist and they're like, son, it's going to be a couple more hours. So you know, like that first meal after all that, that's how she ate. That's how she ate this movie up. I've always loved Kiki. I probably always will love Kiki. So I wasn't surprised. It's just been a while since I've seen someone in a comedy role just go off like that. Okay, people are going to have no choice but to compare this movie to Friday. But let's not get carried away here. This is kind of like, you ever have those friends that work like in the medical field or hospitality field, and let's say it's like Wednesday, and cause they're off Thursday, Friday, they like, today's my Friday. Well, girl, it ain't my Friday. That, you know what I mean? Like it's good that you think it's your Friday, but it ain't my Friday. You know what I'm saying? But I will say that Kiki very much reminded me of a Chris Tucker from Friday or a Mike Epps from Next Friday. And that brings me to another thing that I liked about this movie. You know how in these kind of buddy comedies, there's always like the responsible one and the one that's getting everybody in trouble. So think about responsible people like Craig from Friday or Harold and Kumar. Kiki, who's playing Dreux here, was obviously the responsible one. But they still made her hilarious. Like, she was still clowning and cracking jokes. Because normally in these type of movies, they'd be like, come on, SZA, get your shit together. Like, you're always just bringing us down. Like, along the way in their crazy adventures, like, she's still clowning. Even from the first scene when Alyssa picks her up late, she's already clowning. That's like a kind of a deep cut. I noticed that right away. I was like, oh, she really, like, she is mad that they need the money. And it's not her fault at all. But she's still finding a way. Because, like, that's how I would be. Like, I am the responsible one, but I will find it funny that we need this money. Listen, this movie will not be for everyone. Not everyone is a hood movie connoisseur. But for what this movie is in the month of January, this is what I needed. And I am going to spin the block on this damn movie, and I hope you guys do too. I won't soon get over how good Keke Palmer did in this movie. But also, you can't tell me that this is SZA's first time acting. Like, I guess as an artist, like, as a perfectionist, you can't just dial it in. So I'm sure she went overboard with preparing and training and working on lines and working with her team. So, like, whatever she was doing, that shit paid off. I ain't gonna front, the chemistry was good. But also, the shit was funny. I don't know, people on the internet be kind of weird, man. Y'all be treating black movies weird. Then you got all the cameos. They say they taking away TikTok, so you can see a good amount of the TikTok stars right in this movie, in just case that shit really go away. Not gonna hold you though, I expected a lot more out of that Cat Williams cameo. Like, just didn't do it for me. It was like an important role, but it just wasn't funny. Lucky for us though, the Janelle James scene more than made up for it. Listen, as an obnoxiously proud New Yorker, even I could say it was cool to see the city of Los Angeles as like another character in this movie. A movie that was made by Los Angeles natives, a movie that was shot in Los Angeles. Even a lot of the background actors, they weren't just regular, just extras. They were just locals from Los Angeles. Like, I gotta respect that. You know Issa Rae is always gonna put on for Los Angeles, but it's especially nice to see right now with all the destruction caused by those wildfires. That said, any ad revenue that I make from this video or like super thanks, I'm gonna take that money and donate it to the California Community Fund. They've been around since 2003, and their wildfire recovery fund has provided over $30 million to communities affected by disasters. I will also have the link to their organization and a couple others in the description of this video in case you want to look into it and donate on your own. All right, let me get out of here. The bottom line is, I think this is a good time at the movies. Bring your girls, bring your boys, bring your coworkers, bring your family. I think it's important that we uplift black projects. They are not all created equally, but you can tell that this one was made with care. And we have the opportunity to uplift what could be the next generation of Black Hollywood. And I'm just gonna do my little part by making these little reviews and letting you guys know that I think it's worth checking out. One of Them Days is available right now, exclusively in the theaters. As always, thanks for checking out Taste Take. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like and that subscribe button. In the comments, listen, let's get into black hood comedies. What are the classics, but the new ones? Like, we know the 90s had heat. We know the early 2000s had heat, but what are the new ones? What's funny? Because it's not a lot. This one carries. Listen, we can talk about it in the comments. Thanks for the time, y'all. Peace.
Hey.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that this movie hits like that. But also, can we normalize black people having an emergency fund? Like, not having $1,500 is criminal, and not knowing anyone that can just give it to you real quick while you get your next check. And look, this is not financial advice, but black people, we need 3 to 6 months living expenses in an emergency fund. And go ahead and throw that thing in a high yield savings account. We're talking about 3, 4, 5%. Don't put that in your bank's little savings account. You don't get no money that way. But $1,500. Come on, we gotta do better. We gotta do better. Also, this is kind of like a little spoiler, so you can turn it off if you want. But at the end of the movie, like, to get the money or like to try to help raise the money, they start trying to sell, Alyssa's art. So they put on a little art show in the community. Why is it that the white girl has the connections to get the people to come buy the art? Why is it that only the white people are buying the art. You couldn't just send like some rich locals from LA that are black to buy the art. That's my little qualm with the movie. But besides that, it's still funny. Also, the girl bully is, I mean, I didn't need that. But like, kind of like the Gross Sisters in Proud Family. You guys ever seen Proud Family? The stars of One of Them Days, Keke Palmer.